Hi everyone, how you doing? It's Peter Doak here, and it is time for the PDG Advertising Podcast, episode 39. Hey, we're nearly at 40. Welcome. So this morning feels like such a long time ago. It's really strange, really great day, but it's a strange day today. It was a really early start for me. I don't know. Yesterday was a little bit crazy. I'm a big some insider information on the PDG Advertising Podcast about Peter. I am a big fan of sci-fi, and I really enjoy the films like Independence Day and the Alien films, and the recent film Arrival, like Jurassic Park as well. Anything that's just totally out there, and whenever you like stuff like that, you then kind of get into new technology, and if you go on YouTube, that can end up bringing you to conspiracy theorists and aliens and stuff like that. And I've always been fascinated to see if we're, alone in the universe. And while I don't believe in aliens, I have not been abducted. I really enjoy, watching YouTube shows about things like that. I think it's really cool. And yesterday about lunchtime, or was it? I think it was yesterday, and I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he just said something off color from a podcast a couple of days ago that just threw me a little bit. He said to the guests that he had on, I don't even remember who the guests were. They were cool guys, but he said that he was going out to dinner that night to discuss a podcast that was up and coming, and the podcast, the people that he was going out to talk to was about a guy called Bob Lazar. And if you're in any way interested in UFOs or aliens or anything like that, then you probably know who Bob Lazar is. But he worked at the famous Area 51 site, or south of it. And basically, yesterday was just really exciting because I thought, oh my goodness, so on the Joe Rogan podcast today, at some point, Joe Rogan's going to be talking to Bob Lazar. And Joe Rogan's a huge fan of that. Anyway, long story short, I woke up pretty early, and sometimes I wake up pretty early, I get right at it and go to work. Sometimes I kind of doze on for a bit. But today I woke up with a notification on my phone saying, Joe Rogan Experience podcast with Bob Lazar is ready. Go watch it. So I jumped up and I got ready to go to work. And this was maybe at 5 or 6 in the morning. And I just stuck on the Joe Rogan podcast with Bob Lazar on it. And it was awesome. And I got through a fair amount of stuff that I had to do, just some admin in the morning. And I don't know, it really set me up for a great, great day. It's great. The podcast was awesome. Really cool. And I got through a fair amount of it. And then I went into work, and it was super early for work. And then it was like 9:30 or so, and I was coming to the end of my task list, and I was thinking, goodness, this feels like I've done a day's work already. And I kind of forgot that I'd been working for so long. But somewhere in the midst of all that, for some reason, Anthony and I went through our task list for the day, and it was pretty good because we have our Monday morning meeting, and then the week kind of goes by, and by Friday we've just done so much that it was nice to be able to, catch up and figure out what we were going to do throughout the day, and that was really good. So we did that. And we went through the things that we had to do and some stuff that we were planning on doing in the afternoon. So that was really good. We had a Friday morning digital advertising meeting. One of the things that came up in the Friday morning meeting was that we need new chairs, and we've decided to get some new chairs for the office. The ones that we use are just hopeless, squeaky, not comfortable, probably doing damage to our backs. And we've gone for some Eames style chairs, and they should be arriving soon. Having said that, there was something wrong with the order, so I need to check that out. But it's really cool. You got to work in a nice environment, and you got to work somewhere that you like. It's no point sitting struggling, or I think comfort is important, because what we do is pretty hard. So being able to do it in a comfortable environment is very, very important. So anything that can make that environment nicer, I think, is better. It's a little bit of a paradox between something else that I believe that, work is hard and struggle is important, because if you're always comfortable all the time, then, you won't really be successful. You need to struggle against something. But I'm going to take a gamble on this and say that it's not seating that you need to struggle against, and having a nice seating environment in the office is I think the right decision. And I'm looking forward to seeing them. We'll post pictures of our new seats on Instagram and on Facebook and all over the place. Yeah, today something came up, and whenever you're doing digital advertising, there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to do. There's a lot of elements of things. This could probably be applied to everything, but I think it's really evident all the time in online advertising. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, to bring a product, to have someone buy it, to get the right audience, to all of that. I don't know whether it's as hard as you make it, or whether it is hard, or whether it is easy or not. I don't know. I know one thing for sure. It's complicated. It's really, really complicated. And one thing that became clear today was there's a couple of projects that we're just really, really on top of and doing really well in. And I think that only comes with working very hard at them. I'd like to be specific. So one of the projects is email marketing. And there are 22 emails that need to go out every month. And in order to collate content for each of the emails, we need to contact 22 stakeholders. And those stakeholders need to approve all the content. I need to approve all the content, and our main client needs to approve all the content. And that is quite the undertaking. Can you imagine sending out, 22 requests for information, getting 6 out of office replies, getting 10 no replies, getting 2 people coming back to you within the deadline, and getting another 2 people coming back that don't understand and need, help with that. Now, don't get me wrong, none of that's bad. So it's all good. It's just really, really complex. So if you take those 22 emails, and let's say along the process that there's 10 elements of each of the emails to work out, and in reality it's more like about 50 elements in each of the emails to work out. And not only that, the email multiplies itself by the audience that it's going to. So if that email has 10 elements, and the audience is 400, then you're talking immediately you're talking like 1,000 things that can go wrong. And I think it's more like 20,000 things that can go wrong with this process. I think that there's a very fine line between success and failure. And I think that being successful in any way in that campaign is good. And I was really pleased at how on top of that process that we are. But I also recognize that at any point there's something that could screw it up, because there's just so many elements. So I think that it's an important point. It's, if you're successful in any way, you've probably worked quite hard and you're probably doing quite well, because there's so many opportunities to be unsuccessful. Like, there's just so many ways that things can go wrong. And if you can even half navigate your way through, like I put it in the context of sending a rocket into space. Like, apparently whenever a rocket goes in, it's practically a miracle that it gets off the ground, because the amount of pieces that go into the rocket, the amount of people that you're dealing with, the amount of laws, the amount of weather changes, the amount of I don't know. That's probably the main things. But all of those different things. Each one of those things has maybe about 50 different elements to it, maybe 100 different elements to it. So you multiply that up by the amount of components that are in the thing, and it's just mind-boggling how anything ever gets done at any point, because there's so much opportunity for stuff to just crumble, but it doesn't. You can you can navigate your way through things if you focus. And I don't know how we do it, but I know that we keep lots of lists, and I know we do a lot of checklists and things like that. And that helps. That definitely helps. Failing helps too. Each rocket that goes up, you're probably talking about 50 rockets that went up before that exploded on the launch pad or didn't, or exploded on their way back down, or all of those different things. But there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and trying to anticipate them gives you a little bit of an advantage. So that's something that's important to us in PDG advertising. So it's time for chapter 2, I guess, of part 2 of the user journey. It's taken its time getting our user journey right in terms of a visual representation of it. It's so clear in my mind, the user journey, but it's just taken some time to get it correct. And Anthony and I are working on it, and today we had a bit of a breakthrough. It's an interesting way about how we came to the breakthrough. So what we're trying to do is create a visual of the PDG advertising journey, bringing people from whenever their business has people that don't even know who they are, to people that know who they are, to people that have connected with them, to people that have purchased from them, to people that have purchased twice from them, to people that have left a review and are fans of them. So creating that visual is really important to me. It's something that we'll be able to use in literature, on our website. I can't wait until we have something nice to send out to the world, and I wonder what it'll look like. But here on the PDG Advertising Podcast, and if you are an avid listener of the PDG Advertising Podcast, then you're getting this first. You are getting this straight from the well. I am that well. And today we're going to talk about part 2 of the customer journey. And the first part, just to recap very quickly, is getting in front of advertising to people who don't know who you are. So getting an advert in front of someone to introduce yourself. You've done that. You've done that on Facebook, or you've done it through Google search. And for more details on it, track back to the PDG Advertising Podcast 38 for stage 1 of the customer journey. Stage 2, this group of people that we're trying to target are people who have been to your website or maybe have interacted with one of your posts. And the idea behind that is, if they've clicked on your post or if they've gone as far to visit your website, then they're probably interested in what you have to do or what you have to sell. And think about what they had to deal with in order to click on your post. So unless your post wasn't true to who you are, unless you like pure clickbait, or if you were just posting irrelevant stuff, then maybe they're not interested. But if you put out a post saying, "Are you interested in chocolate bars?" and you sell chocolate bars, and someone has clicked on it, then it's probable that they're interested in chocolate bars. Or at least out of 100, 80 people that have clicked on it are probably interested in chocolate bars. The other 10 might be trolls going, "Who on earth will be interested in chocolate bars?" Chocolate bars might be a bad example, because who doesn't like a chocolate bar? But you get the idea. So these are people that have landed on your site. And how do you get back in front of them? Now, I'm going to skip forward a little bit to stage 3 of the customer journey, which is when people have connected with you maybe on email or on social media. And we're not talking about those people yet. We're talking about the people before that. We're talking about the people that have purchased from, sorry, they haven't even come near to purchasing from you. We're talking about the people that haven't connected with you, but have seen an advert before and have clicked on your advert before. How do we identify these people again? Well, we do that via pixels. two main pixels. I'm sure there are more out there, but these two will explain the basic concept. On Facebook, specifically on Facebook Business Manager and on Google Ads Manager, there is the opportunity to download a piece of code from those platforms and install them on your website so that whenever a user visits your website, they're and you know, it's important that I challenge myself to get the terminology right here, and I don't think I'm going to, because I don't 100% understand it. And I'm going to call it out now. I have a specialist that deals with this, but I'm going to put it in words that I hope that you will understand, because I understand them. So this piece of code embeds a piece of code or a signature in that user's, your potential customer's web browser, and it tags your user as someone who has been to your website. So whenever your user goes to another website, like off Facebook or even on Facebook again, what we then want to do is we then want to send an advert to you on Facebook again. Let me run over that again briefly. And I probably should write it down so that I can go through it properly. But let's try it again. So user visits your website. Facebook creates an audience of you and stores the fact that you have been to the website before. And then whenever you visit Facebook again or another website that is linked to Facebook, it will then start, we then want to send an advert to you again when you go on Facebook. And I suppose the best way to practically explain it is whenever you have gone to a website like Amazon.com, or whenever you go to a shoe site or a driving instructor site or a web design site, whenever you go back to Facebook or go around the internet, you feel like you're being followed around the internet by adverts. This is what we're talking about, retargeting on different platforms. So the idea is that whenever someone comes back to the internet, or if they haven't purchased, or if they haven't given you their details, then we then send another advert to increase that brand awareness. And what we do is kind of aggressive at that point. We set the adverts to run 2 times every day for the next 7 days. So every day, what you'll see is an advert twice a day. It could be on a website that's linked to Facebook. It could be on Facebook itself. It could be on Instagram. And this is Facebook I'm talking about. Then you talk about Google. Same process. The retargeting tag on Google just stores your information and then starts sending you information and adverts based on where you've visited across the internet. So what's the top level? Basically, the first time you see an advert, you click on it. And then you end up, and whenever I say you, I'm putting you in the mindset of being the customer, but we're actually trying to target your customers. So to take on that persona of your own customer. So your customer visits your website based on an advert that we have sent them to start off with. It's level 1. But then they don't connect with you, or they don't give you their email address, and they don't purchase, and they don't go any further at that point. If we don't get in front of them again, unless they come voluntarily back to the website, I think that they're gone. I think in 2019, you need to remind people that you exist. So what we then do is we send more adverts to that person because we've identified them as a possible customer. And we go a little bit aggressive at this point. Now, that's how it works. What type of adverts are we trying to send to people? Let me take a step back before we do that. I want to give you an example of a really great, and I think I talked about it in the podcast 38, but it's really relevant for right now. So we had a customer, B2B customer, who had someone visit their website, and we had retargeting installed. And I don't know if it was on Facebook or Google, but one of them had Forbes was on their advertising connections list. So whenever that customer had one of their customers go to their website and then go to read Forbes a couple of days later, what they saw was an advert from our customer on Forbes, and the prospect came back to our customer and said, "How on earth did you get on Forbes? That's amazing." That conversation started off a contract that was worth something like $50,000, all because of maybe a couple of cents being put into a retargeting budget to get in front of someone. It wasn't that we were on Forbes. It wasn't that our customer was on Forbes. It was that Forbes allowed retargeting, and the Forbes allowing retargeting made it look like our customer was on Forbes, making it look like the customer was much, much bigger than they actually were. And it helps them, ironically, to get to being as big as they possibly could be. So that's an example of how it actually works in practice. Now, what exactly are we trying to do in those second adverts? So remember, someone sees a first advert and then they see the second advert, but they're going to see it repeatedly over and over and over again. What are we trying to do? We're trying to move those people to the next stage of the customer journey, which is stage 3, and that's to enter their email address or to connect on social. Now, we do that in a number of ways. Sometimes we'll have people, we don't so much ask people to hit like on Facebook. It's becoming a bit of a false economy having large Facebook followings, because it still costs you to get in front of them. So what's the point? Why wouldn't you just retarget them whenever you want to anyway, without the added expense of trying to get them to like you on Facebook? So what we do is we more go to try to get people's email addresses. It still seems like the one evergreen way of making sure that you can get back in touch with people, because people have to have email addresses for, their bank accounts, or maybe not only their bank accounts, but certainly their broadband accounts, or, logins for different things is usually an email address. So it's still a very obvious place to, try to contact people for marketing, even with very low open rates in 2019. But anyway, that's what we're trying to do with those adverts. So those adverts will generally be retargeting to people who we know that are interested, with maybe an offer in return for their email address. On one of our customers that sells furniture, we offer a 10% discount code, and we retarget that out to people, and that goes marvelously well. And it certainly brings people through the process and brings people through the customer journey a little bit further and a little bit quicker. In short and in summary, the second advert level is stage 2 of the customer journey. It's increasing your brand awareness with the customer and enticing them to move to level 3, which is getting their email address, or getting them to connect some way with you that's a little bit deeper than just having visited your website. And we do that through pixeling, through Google Pixels, and through Facebook Pixels, all retargeting pixels. So that was great to talk about stage 2 of the customer journey. And I suppose whenever you're relentlessly working on the customer journey for customers, I think something really interesting happened yesterday. We had a conversation with a guy, and we're working with himself on SEO for one of our customers already, because we work very quickly and we move very, very quickly. But a question that they posed was about competitors for one of our customers. And I had to take a step back and I thought, we have no idea who our customers' competitors are. I have no idea who our competitors are at PDG Advertising. I kind of don't care. I don't care who our customers are. I don't think anybody's doing this as well as we're doing it right now. It might sound arrogant, but I just feel like we understand it a little bit better. I've not come across anybody that understands this as well. I really haven't. And goodness, if you're interested in challenging that viewpoint, please do, because I'd love to meet someone that was able to, focus on this as well as we can, I think. But aside from that, we should know who our customers' competitors are. We should know that, and we don't. So the fact that we don't, I think, is a major problem. and something that we're going to definitely rectify. And if anybody has an opinion on that, let me know. Tell me if you think that, people should, as an advertising agency, should we be, knowledgeable about our customers' competitors? Or should we just relentlessly focus on our own game? I'm veering towards the side of focusing on our own game, but I'd be interested to know your opinion. And guys, that is the end of the PDG Advertising Podcast. It has been a rainy, wet week across Belfast, but tonight we've got a very beautiful cloudy sunset over the Belfast hills, and it's a nice way to end the week. A great week and a very, very busy week coming up at PDG Advertising. I'm going to keep you all informed. We'll be back on Monday with the PDG Advertising Podcast, episode 40. This being episode 39. I'm really pleased that we've been able to keep it up to, episode nearly 40 now. But we're really only scratching the surface, and we're going to go right to episode 100. And I look forward to that. And who knows what we'll be talking about on the 100th episode of the PDG Advertising Podcast. But thank you again, everyone, for listening, and our additional listeners that have come on board. I really appreciate every one of you, and I look forward to episode 40 on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll speak soon.